10B is staff memo and consideration of parking lease agreement with Commonwealth Edison Company for commuter parking at Prospect Heights Metro Station, 55 South Wolf Road. At our last discussion of this, I believe it was August meeting, council directed us to see if there might be any assistance from Metro. Metro was contacted, and they advised that they don't have economic assistance available. As you're aware, they're going through their own financial issues and service issues as well. We also, with Finance Director Ducharme, reviewed the budget of the commuter parking fund. There's a couple areas that we would propose changing. Finance Director Ducharme mentioned the service charges that are throughout different areas in the village or the city. We found that we probably have estimated that or inflated it. Certainly there are some service charges, but I think there might have been an overhead charge that really wasn't applicable. Additionally, we also reviewed how much was being expensed for depreciation, and what we found is that part of the depreciation was, I think, roughly, I don't know, maybe about a quarter or a third of the initial project costs, which actually were related to Wolf Road improvements, the turning lanes, intersection configuration, and so forth. We really don't feel that that should be charged, so we reduced that. We also have a petition to Metra. I followed up on it the other day. It's still in process of review, but that would be for an increase of the daily rates. Putting all those things together, we believe we could swing roughly about $30,000 to the good between combination of a reduction of expenses and also $10,000 in revenue. There still will be a gap. There still will be a loss. That is not uncommon with these things. It's not uncommon really for any municipal services. Our police department operates at a loss. Other departments do too. We're a service business. That's a little bit different. So what brings it tonight is there were two items. We had the demand letter from Commonwealth Edison for the back rent, and then they're also in their demand letter, they're telling us that they're seeking a decision on the proposed lease. As you're aware, Mayor Helmer has worked on this even before I came here. You probably have had a number of meetings that knocked them down a little bit. We had a meeting as late, I think, last June or July, and I think it's fair to say we probably have gone as far as we could go with them.
It would seem that way, yes.
So that's where we stand tonight.
Joe, if I can make a comment, please. When we first started this, one of the first things Mayor Helmer did was sit down with ComEd. And I believe at that time you had gotten the lease amount down to $12,000 a year, somewhere in that neighborhood?
Well, the request was $40-some thousand. We at that point were at $15,000 or $16,000, and we came to an agreement of leaving it that way, I believe, for a short time, and then increasing by $1,000. Where are we now?
We're at $20,000.
20,000.
20 even or in excess of 20?
No, it's a pretty even number all the way through. It was just a raise from 16 to 17 to 18.
They had proposed 5% increases each year, and I think we got a more stable rate with an increase at the fourth or fifth year of the agreements.
Well, $1,000 a year, beginning at $15,000, is in excess of 5%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I would certainly recommend that we, request that Metro become part of the conversations when we sit down with them. I am wholesale in favor of paying off our lease for this coming year, but I am not in favor of signing a new lease for years upcoming.
Well, the lease is with ComEd.
Correct.
So Metra is like, we ended up getting $17,000 from Metra last time. And Al, correct me if I'm wrong, but that money was used to put up cameras and it did have an effect on reduction in vandalism and everything else. I'm looking at all this. Regarding the Metro, I believe they gave us $16,000 for cameras.
At one time, yes.
At one time, yeah.
Right.
That's all we got out of them, and I'm not sure what we'll get out of them now.
No,
We
no, I'm
love
not
those
looking
things.
for any monies out of Metro. What I'm looking for is for Metro to be party to the negotiations with ComEd, sitting in that room as we're discussing this, because it gives us better purchasing power, if you will.
All right, Joe has attempted to do that, and what was their answer?
Commonwealth Edison advised they would not be party to that. They would only do work individually with the city.
Okay, and they're the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and we can't refuse to sign a lease because they refuse to come to the table? I mean, that's not logical. You know, we could just as easily let Metro work with ComEd and operate a railroad. So I think that it's a good idea to bring them to the table.
It's not that that hasn't been tried, by both sides refusing, not just ComEd. Metro wouldn't meet either.
Well, Metro was favorable to it. They were willing to do it. It was Commonwealth Edison that objected.
Right now, we owe them money, and it's in arrears. What do we owe them now?
21,000.
Okay. And that goes back a couple months, or what?
Yeah, it's the last year's.
The money that we owe them needs to be paid.
Correct.
I mean, we're under an agreement, we owe the money, it needs to be paid. I don't think there's really anything to discuss on that.
And correct me if I'm wrong, John, but we're just operating under the terms of the original agreement by paying them the monies that they're due.
That's a very interesting question. The new proposed lease has a holdover provision in it. The prior lease does not, but essentially what you said is correct.
So what does that holdover agreement do for us on the old, or on the new one?
On the new one, I believe the holdover provision says that basically if we come to the end of the agreement and don't re-up, that it doubles the amount we owe?
Yeah.
I think it's 200%.
Yeah, it's
So I mean,
not favorable.
Yeah.
correct, and these are items that we need to be discussing with them, because why would we agree to that? That's foolish.
Well, and I've sent comments a couple times with other matters that I don't think we should agree to, and I don't think our legal counsel would advise us to agree to. I mean, some of the items are simple, such as the term is conflicting from paragraph 1 to exhibit B. Some of it's just minor basic stuff that should be corrected.
And has Kevin reviewed this agreement?
John?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a for instance. So this new lease is, I think, for a 3-year term with a renewal period. And we have a set amount that is payable for the initial term of this new lease. And then the lease goes on to say that they can change the amount that we owe at their sole discretion and without us having any say-so as to the amounts, so.
Then can I borrow your pen to sign it? It's outrageous.
So there's some goofy stuff.
Yeah, just so you
Really
know,
is.
both the comments from Alderman Messer and from Tressler have been provided to the Edison Real Estate Department as well as their representing attorney.
Okay, and have any changes been made?
No,
Has there been any feedback from, those, the changes that were submitted?
only that we've been advised that they received it.
What was Joe Kincaid's lawyer for, what was his letter about?
His was the demand letter, and he's been also copied on the proposed changes from the city, too.
Well, we
The
gotta
demand,
back off on that, but not for long, I'm sure.
Yeah.
the demand letter was for payment for this current cycle, correct? it wasn't a demand letter to sign the new lease.
I understood it was,
It's both.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what is our obligation? I mean, we obviously have the opportunity to just say no. At which point,
Yeah,
we're obligated.
Yes, I mean, I got to tell you, I'm a little reluctant to talk about this in open,
Okay.
but,
Is this something that we
I
can
think it's
discuss in
something that-
executive session?
well, I think it's something that we've kind of talked about in the past, maybe, about the, how if we just say no more, that we have to return the property to the condition it was already in,
Mhm.
and that is a sizable amount of money.
Correct, but the nice part of that is, we have to pay that sizable amount of money even if we do sign the lease, because that parking lot needs to be redone.
But, I mean, we are never, would it be safe to say that we're never gonna have an agreement that doesn't say we have to remediate?
True.
Are we just pushing the can down the road this year and next year and keep going? Which, if that's what everybody wants to do, I mean, that's what we can do, but the idea that that should be a parameter that we have to worry about, saying, oh, we have to remediate this thing. Any contract we have with ComEd's gonna require that, no matter what. Is there any chance of getting them to just forward this, just do 1-year renewals on this, instead of trying to sign this bad lease?
I have not been involved in the negotiations, and I think
I mean,
this
agree
is
to their
something that Joe's
terms, but
handling.
just have a series of 6 renewable 1-year terms or 2-year terms, or?
That was broached with them, and they were not receptive to that.
Pat, there are other items in the agreement that need to be addressed too. I mean, part of it for the purpose, I mean, it can only be used for the driving and parking of passenger vehicles. We have a shredding event there. Technically, that's outside the terms of this agreement, and we'd be breaking the terms. I mean, you know, some of it might be minor, but some of the paragraphs in here, I think, could have a larger effect on us. So it's not even just the terms and the rent. I mean, there are other sections that, and I don't think it's absurd requests on our part either. It's completely in line with standard requests for negotiations in a lease, but it's things that need to be addressed to protect the city, in my opinion.
And might I ask, is this something that it's a case of trying to get ComEd's actual attention, or have they given the attention that, and they're just not willing to engage?
I'm not sure that we know. I think that's
Yes.
part of the problem.
My understanding is comments from Kevin and myself have been forwarded. Whether ComEd has reviewed or done anything with them is,
Yeah, it's the old adage, no response is a response, but certainly we can go back to them.
I mean, at least we should present them with, you know, let's get everything in order, let's just do a 1-year extension to the existing, then we're all compliant, nobody's in breach, everybody's happy for 1 year, while we make a concerted effort to try and really get something done. You know, so that we're not going to, I notice there's 4 pages of insurance requirements, I don't know if we've checked to see that our insurance carrier is gonna say that those new coverages are gonna cost us more, or that we're not covered. So there's a lot of things here that they're asking us to do, and kind of telling us take it or leave it. You know, we should at least formally inform them that we need to go 1 year, extend the last one for a year, and let's truly make an effort to work out the terms and conditions. I think we're fixed on the rate, we've already done that, we're not gonna get anywhere on that. And at least let's buy a year if we can to work it out with them. I can't imagine they'd be opposed to that.
And pay them what we owe.
Then what we owe, go forward with an extension at the rate that we show in this contract of $20,000, and say, let's set a timeline and some actionable items that we say by, you know, these dates, we're gonna get certain things accomplished and get it done, so we're not sitting there in default.
Laura, have you recommended that they remove that, what'd you call it, John, a holdover, or?
the holdover language is typical. I've seen it in a lot of leases.
Yeah, but if it doesn't
But-
exist in our current one, why would we add it?
Technically, they could terminate everything right now because we don't have holdover language in it. So if we wanted to move forward while we're thinking, they could just cut us off, so it could be to our advantage too. 200%, I think, is on the high end. I have seen numbers that some might think are high, but not 200%. At least not in my experience. I don't know how high John may have seen, but.
Is this a conversation we could have in executive session? Is this a contract negotiation?
We could have some discussion on this, yeah. Alternative, I mean, again, if you'd like us to get involved with trying to knock on ComEd's door, not that we knock any differently, but it's a different sound
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah, the only other option we have is to remediate this thing back, pay whatever we owe for the rent that it takes us to get to that point, and be done with it. That's our only option.
Right,
can't-
but I'm not, I
we
don't
can't come
want
to
to
an
take
agreement.
away, I mean,
Give it
I don't
one
want
last
to take the
shot.
train station away from the city by a stretch. I don't want that to be.
I mean, I think Pat has a good idea if they're willing to go into a one-year extension and then seriously, like, do lease, like, I don't know if they're looking at anything. I mean, like I said, Kevin is our attorney, he has had comments too, I don't know if they've looked at anything. Even if they send it to us in Word, so we can present them with the red line, so it's easier for them to see our comments. Get an
Instead of going
extension
back
one.
and forth, let's give Kevin all the things that we're concerned about and say he has full authority to negotiate this lease on our behalf. I mean, we know what our concerns are, that we want to stay away from, or what we're trying to do, at least then maybe ComEd will look and say, okay, we're dealing with Kevin, and we can get this thing done.
Right, well, why don't we,
And as long,
why don't we do what, Laura and Pat are proposing? We pay off, get the one-year extension, and then we do a workshop in which we review it, and we go through it, and we address
And
it.
as a council, though, we have to decide we're done. We can't keep
Correct.
going back to Kevin and saying, tweak this, tweak that.
No, but
Really
we
have to
sit
put
down
it
as a
over.
group, as a council, and
Go through
discuss,
page by page.
we go through it page by page, and,
I'd recommend that as long as the city's doing that too, that you bring in Metra in. I mean, from what I'm hearing, we may not continue operations of the train station. And in that regard, I think it'd probably be worthwhile for Metra to be at the table.
well, I don't think anybody's talking about wanting to cease operations at the train station. It's certainly not a want, it's not a desire. I think that we need to work this out, and there's a healthy balance between a losing proposition and something that's providing benefit to the citizens. That right now, we're at a significant loss, and the dollar per rider doesn't justify maintaining it.
That's why I'd recommend bringing Metra in. We may be going in that direction.
Exactly, I believe you're exactly right.
So is that direction then, to the city attorney, to go to ComEd, try and work out a one-year extension, let them know our game plan, that we're going to have a meeting, have Kevin get back to ComEd directly, and be able to be their sole point of contact for resolving this?
I'm 100% behind you, yeah.
And I think, are we given direction also to get the payment that's owed
Yes,
paid immediately?
as part of that conversation Kevin has with them.
And then parlaying on that, we agree to go to have a workshop and go through that line by line and have that contract.
Before we do that, maybe Kevin gives us his line by line to say, does your insurance company agree with these new insurance terms? Here's what this means, what the holdover means, here's all these provisions that he would pull out, looking at it from our standpoint of what's best for us before we go through, line by line.
Correct.
He's gonna know what we need.
Well, he's part and parcel to the workshop too. But I would say you're right. I mean, have him review it prior to us having that meeting. Larry, have any comment?
Larry,
Yes.
you're on the air. Any comments on the Metro thing?
No.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? We got direction for staff, let's follow that. What's next?